What's up, weirdos? I'm Felicia and I like scary movies, and today I'm reviewing Jordan Peele's newest film, Nope. Nope is a sci-fi horror film that follows the Haywood family, who have been Hollywood horse trainers for generations. After an unexplainable tragedy, siblings OJ and Emerald spot something chilling and impossible in the sky above their property. Now let's be real, this has been a highly anticipated horror film. Jordan Peele came out with Get Out in 2017 and Us in 2019, and when the first image, the poster of Nope came out, people were freaking out. Something I really appreciate about the trailer with this film is it kept it just so spoiler free. You watch that trailer and you're excited, but you really don't know a lot about what the movie is about. And with that spirit, I'm keeping this review spoiler free. Now I'm just gonna say it. I think this is Jordan Peele's best movie so far. And I am not a huge fan of sci-fi horror in general. It's not my favorite subgenre. This movie, I think it's like a triumph. Now first I want to talk about what this movie does really, really well, and then I'm going to get into some of the themes that are explored in the film. So first of all, Jordan Peele to me is like such a tight director. He shows you exactly what he wants you to see for the exact amount of time he wants you to see it, and everything feels like a choice. Every costume piece, every set piece, the length of the shots. Like, to me, this movie feels like an anti-jump scare horror film, and that, not to say that there aren't moments that, like, you know, you do a jump scare, but I just love these images that he'll show you that you think you're only gonna get to see for like a hot second, and he just makes you stare at them for a long time. And there's something about that that creates this sense of awe and dread in Jordan Peele horror movies that I feel like we don't get a ton in our genre. And that brings me to my next point of this idea of he hides nothing, okay? He hides nothing. Not only does a majority of this sci-fi horror movie take place during the daytime, but even during the nighttime sequences, you can see everything with perfect clarity. And somehow he has this ability to show us everything, even things I didn't know I wanted to see, and still have this level of mystery to it. He never over explains. Like, he's gonna show you something wild and then you have to make up your own mind about what you just saw. And in this type of sci-fi horror movie, I think that's so perfect because, and I think this is not a spoiler to me because it's in multiple interviews, and everybody kind of got this idea from the trailer, is that it's some sort of alien or UFO situation, right? That's all I'm gonna say. Like, we don't know. I'm not gonna give away what it actually ends up being, but that's kind of the vibe we get, right? And when you hear about in our real world, out of movies, UFO sightings, and the images that we have that have been released from the government, which they do mention in this movie, and I appreciated that. When people describe their experiences seeing these things that they don't know what they are, there is this sense of like, I saw it. I am in awe. I saw the thing, but I don't know what I saw at the same time. And I feel like he captures that feeling of fear and dread and awe so just perfectly throughout this entire movie. Now, of course, I have to talk about the actors because they're just, I mean, phenomenal. So, of course, Daniel Kaluuya, who plays OJ Haywood, our main character, I mean, he's so good. Like, he barely speaks in this movie and he is so captivating. Like, he is just an amazing actor. And then Keke Palmer plays his sister, who, by the way, is like a huge horror fan, and I follow her on Twitter. She's awesome. But they have such an amazing relationship in this film as brother and sister that is just like so genuine. Like, it's so believable, everything about them as actors in this movie, the nuance they bring, the comedy they bring together, it's just, it's amazing. And something else I love about their characters, and it's also, even in the title, Nope, right? It's these two characters that the way they react to these crazy things that are happening feel so honest. And they feel truthful to how somebody would react in that situation, which is sort of this idea of nope, right? Like, no, I'm not gonna go explore that scary corner because danger probably lies there. And Jordan Peele has talked about this as a Black horror film director, and also talking about Black audiences, where there's this sort of generalized view of watching white people in horror movies do stupid things. Like, you hear a scary noise in the basement, maybe don't go check that out. Maybe say nope and go back upstairs and go to bed. And so he like infuses this idea into his main characters. It's just so genius. And then we also have like a trope of this, like the Black comic relief in a horror film being switched to sort of a white comic relief, who is the guy who's like a little too interested in the spooky, scary thing that's probably gonna get him killed. Like, and by the way, sorry, Brandon Pereira I don't think he's actually white, I think he is Latino, but like having that trope sort of flipped in this movie in a way is awesome. And the last sort of overall horror thing that Jordan Peele does that I love, and then we'll get into themes, is this idea of taking mundane objects and making them scary to me now. Like in Us, it's like rabbits, right? And this movie, those flying things at car sales, these guys, it's like, now I'm gonna be scared of those forever. I just love how he does that. I just love it. All right, now let's move into themes. If you watch my channel, you know this is where I get really excited. Now, I think the overall theme for me that is present everywhere in this movie is exploitation in Hollywood, which is kind of amazing because horror films are the king of exploitation. It's sort of the only genre we feel comfortable using that word in. Does anyone feel that way? So let's start with the Haywood family themselves. So they are training horses for Hollywood. They are training, taming wild animals. Like, I know horses have been domesticated for a long time, but like they're training them out of their instincts to perform tricks and be calm and do whatever they need to do to be used in Hollywood movies so that the family can make money. There's another story woven throughout the movie about this chimpanzee named Gordy who was on a TV show in the 90s, and a huge tragedy, scary situation happened on set, which they talk about basically led to chimpanzees no longer being used in Hollywood because basically they're too smart to be exploited in this way. And then based on that plot line, we see this idea of exploiting tragedy for money, right? Which we see, I mean, Lauren and I actually just talked about this on the podcast, about like true crime, right? It's like somebody dies in a horrible way. Great, we'll make a documentary on it and make lots of money. Like that is so, and I know it's like our culture is obsessed with it. It's content that I consume constantly. And it's like, why are we as a society so addicted to tragedy and so addicted to spectacle, which is something that comes up a lot when talking about Nope. Like all the interviews with the cast members and with Jordan Peele, they use this word of spectacle a lot, and the idea of humans being addicted to spectacle. And I know I am. Like, that's why I think I love horror movies. I want to see something that I don't feel like I'm gonna experience in my everyday life, hopefully. And I wanna see it from a chair where I feel very safe. And so we've gone from the horse to the chimpanzee to this unexplained thing in the sky. And this idea of something unexplainable in the sky and wanting to capture it, wanting to own it, wanting to ultimately make money off of it. And that is presented multiple times in the movie through multiple people. And that is this other like human addiction to greed or money. And it's like whenever we see something that brings us a moment of awe, why is one of our first instincts to figure out how we can make money off of it? Like, that's so crazy. Which also makes me think about how we create and consume media content, whatever. It's like when you're watching fireworks and you have to take photos and videos of it, right? It's like you see something amazing and you feel the need to take a picture of it and maybe share it on the internet. And like, what is that need? Like, what is that fulfilling inside of us? Does it make us feel like we now own part of that amazing thing we saw? Like, is that it? Is it for like the memory for ourselves of it? Is it so other people can see that we had this moment of awe? Like, what is that? I don't know. But the discussion of it in this film was very interesting to me. Okay, something else that comes up in this movie a lot, and I'm not sure how exactly it ties into this theme of exploitation in Hollywood, I think, well, actually, I think it does, is Hollywood crews. Like, the amount of people it takes to make a movie is astounding. And the names that we talk about, even on this channel, are the director, the writer, the main cast, right? The names, if you will. And all the other people that make the movie happen are basically forgotten. And the first way in which they talk about this in the movie is that the great-great-great-grandfather of the Haywood family was the first man captured on motion picture film. And that first image, which you can see here, is a black jockey riding a horse. And this idea of no one knows who that man is because he didn't have a starring name. And in this movie, we're dealing with a family of horse trainers. No one knows who trains the horses for big war movies or whatever movies. Like, no one knows who trains those horses. And during the final third biggest sequences of the movie, O.J. Hayward is wearing a crew sweatshirt that says crew on the back, who's becoming this huge hero on horseback, no less, wearing a sweatshirt that says crew on the back. Like, there's something about that that's just like, yes. These are the true heroes. These are the people that make it happen. And these are the people that don't really get the credit. So I love that all being discussed. Just freaking awesome. And the last thing I want to just have a quick discussion about for all my horror movie fans out there is that Jordan Peele does not disappoint in terms of horror movie references in this movie. Like, Jordan Peele has said that some of his influences for this film are Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Signs, The Wizard of Oz, which I'm interested in that. But we also have things like he rips the line from Poltergeist in like the perfect moment. He has Oz Perkins in the movie doing a cameo as like the director of a commercial. And if you don't know who that is, he directed Gretel and Hansel a couple of years ago. Also, Blackcoat's Daughter. And for people who listen to my podcast or are just generally interested in paranormal phenomena or unexplained events, I also read Peele took some inspiration from the stories that have come out of Skinwalker Ranch, which after I read that and I saw the movie, I totally see that. But yeah, I'm fearing this video is getting very long, but I love the movie. Could you tell? Could you tell that I loved it? I thought it was amazing. If you haven't seen Nope yet, go check it out in theaters. If you have seen it already, in the comments down below, definitely let me know what you thought of it. I'm dying to know. And I think that's it. Have a nice scream, people. Bye.